Okay, so let's talk about the newest. I don't know what we want to call it. I'm not gonna say it's breaking the internet or anything, but it's a hot topic right now. DJ Envy and Gia, his wife of I don't know how long they've been married. Do you know?
He said they got together when they was like
They
16.
was kids. Yeah.
I don't know how long they've been married, but
Like they've been together. I want to say 20 plus years.
okay.
Multiple kids. We know the whole thing. We know his history. We know he's cheated. That's been very blown up on the internet for years. They made it past that point. They're both very successful in their careers and their life. They've just become like a major power couple for everybody watching them on the outside. So today, you got a lot of people disappointed or sharing their personal feelings and views about the fact that they decided to disclose some personal things that happened between them in their relationship. So we, as black people, we, you and me especially, we go to Twitter for a lot of things. Information, misinformation, gossip, all of those things. And it was brought to my attention. I think I saw you and another person I follow talking about it. Two gentlemen, actually. And so tell us first what was said.
So the interview was with the Shade Room, and I don't know if because even Envy said that they cut part of the interview off, so I don't know what context led to that part, what we're speaking about, but she basically said that she wasn't able to climax during their sexual encounters. And DJ Envy pretty much said, well, he said, I thought I was Daddy Longleg or something.
That's exactly what he said, yeah.
So that just, I feel like
it sent heterosexual men into like it was a ripple wave effect of ego is how I took it. That's how I view it. But what is your stance on that before I go too far in?
I mean, yeah, somebody might have, took it that way. I just look at it as, me personally, I can only look at it from my point of view that I just don't like when, I think DJ Envy is dope, like what he's done.
He's done a lot.
Like in his family, like the way he put his family on display. So it's like for them to come back around and do that, it's like, dang, like I wouldn't want to see that. Like he always show his kids and his family like in a good light. So to come back around and say that, it's like it's transparent, but it's like kind of like unnecessary. We didn't ask for that.
So here's the thing. So I usually just jump in shit before I know all the information. So apparently she's coming out with a book. I'm a writer.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm a writer. She's coming out with a book and she touches on a lot of the things from her perspective and I guess that she's gone through as a mother, as a wife of a celebrity, someone very well known. And so there was probably a portion in the book that spoke on that. Here's how I feel like the interview, what she was saying got misconstrued. I understood it 100% perfectly fine. But I feel like the mass majority of male society, if I'm being honest, misread what she was saying or what they were saying. And it kind of proves that men don't listen. So let me go into why I say that.
All right.
First of all, I agree with everything you were saying as far as, what Envy's done as far as putting his family on display in a positive light. This is no different. This is a teaching tool, if anybody was paying attention, for people when it comes to sexuality and the communication issues that you may have in a relationship. A lot of the time people feel like, what happens in the house is their business and things like that. And I agree. I'm one of those people who I like to keep things in-house. However, how can we grow as Black people? How can we grow as people? And I say Black people because that's really my main concern, because we got to fix what's in our house before we can fix anything outside of it. If we're not trying to effectively and healthily communicate. So they use an example from their past that they've been able to create a positive result from in the long run. And they went back on that to teach others that this is important. She spoke on, and it wasn't a blow to his ego. If people paid attention, and I went back and watched the full little clip instead of just a piece. If people went back and watched that, she spoke about how it wasn't his fault because she didn't understand and know her body at the time. And a lot of us as women go through that. I've probably gone through that all the way up to this age. And what we do, especially in the Black community, is we allow our peers to teach us about sex and sexuality before we educate ourselves the right way. For the longest time, I've known that something isn't connecting for me as a woman when it comes to intercourse. And so I've researched things and I've read as much as I could, but I'm just like, I'm still not getting what all these women are saying that they're getting. Like, for the longest time, women were like, oh, you'll know if you had it. You gonna know if you had it. And it feels like this, and it's this, and it's this. But when I went back more recently and did more research again, I'm perfectly fine. What I had been having was an orgasm. I just realized that certain people were being, like, some people are just really dramatic people, and I'm not. So I'm thinking, because I'm not having this pornographic display of emotion and just like, I'm like, bitch, I ain't having that. Well, I'm not even like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't going through that, but sex has always been pleasurable. And evidently I've climaxed numerous times and just did not understand that that's what was happening, because I kept relating it to what my peers were experiencing, which might have been some bullshit. I might just be the only honest person I know, because I'm like, bitch, I don't have that reaction. Okay. You know what I mean? And so going back to the topic, when Gia was talking about that, she was trying to explain that it's not about you physically, what you're doing wrong, because she sandwiched that perfectly. She was like, you know, he's very much so a man that wants to pleasure a woman. She went on and on back to the point where he cut her off there, but it was like, I didn't know what I was doing or what I needed. Or they were 16, they were kids, and that's around the time that this was going on, when they were young, 16 to like maybe early 20s. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Nobody, a good percentage, because I know one guy, but a good percentage of people don't know what they're doing that early in life. Our parents don't really talk to us about it on a free level. You know, you think about other cultures. I can't even say other cultures. I think white people speak very freely to their kids about sexuality, more so than Indian. Even Spanish, because, you know, they're very Catholic, and especially us. We don't, you know, we teach everyone to be abstinent or practice safe sex, but we're not talking about pleasure when it comes to sex. And I think that's what she was trying to highlight, that is important, that is something that we had a lot of problems because of. And that was something I think was misconstrued too. I think that, I don't know if you watched the full thing, but she had mentioned that once she got to a point to where she expressed it, this is the part that I'm not really sure. Either they were having an argument and she felt the need to say it, or she felt the need to say it and it caused an argument. Either way, she told him, like, you know, this whole time I haven't been orgasming.
Oh yeah, so, he did say that they had an argument.
Yeah, and so automatically his ego took a blow. And she said that began a multitude of issues in their relationship, some of which led to the cheating. Because and I can relate to that to a degree, maybe not for the simple fact of pleasuring, but I remember I was in a relationship where I talked to my ex at the time, who was my boyfriend. I'm like, you know, he had a lot of infidelity. He was someone that was known locally, so he was a little bit popular simply off the strength of that. That's it. So there was a lot of opportunity and temptation for him. And I used to be like, why do you cheat so much? Why? It was never a me thing for per se, really, but his excuse was, whenever you make me mad, I cheat. I'm like, nigga, you cheating all the time then, because I know for a fact I can't, like, there's gonna be moments where I piss you off. So, you know, I get to how some of that could have led into that, because the male ego is very fragile.
That was bold. That's a bold statement. I wouldn't.
It was some bullshit. That was a lie. You cheat because you want to cheat. It ain't had nothing to do with that. You was cheating when we was good, but that's a whole nother, you know, that's a horse of a different color. But I wanted to talk to you about that today, because I was just like, it looks like a lot of confusion and understanding. I think automatically all men heard was, he ain't making her orgasm. That make him look like he not the fucking man. Why would he set himself up to look like a simp when there's so many other elements to that conversation? And I think that's another thing. Like, I hate when and that's what social media is meant to do. I hate when we put things on a big scale, but we leave out parts, because that causes even more misinformation within the community, within us. What I do want to touch on too is, you were back to your point when you were saying, you know, a lot of issues that go on, you feel like sometimes need to stay within the house. And I agree with that. I agree that they're using it as a teaching tool. I don't disagree with anyone. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think there are certain parts of a relationship that 100% should stay in house. This whole Will and Jada thing, like what they continuously go through. They got there's a lot of things that I think Jada has touched on that I don't necessarily agree with her regurgitating onto the microphone and, you know, to where everybody can see it. But if that's her truth, then that's her truth. I also believe that because of how humiliating it is looking for Will, like, maybe this should be something that you do while you're trying to figure out y'all's separate life, or once you get a divorce or whatever, because to stay in a situation where it seems like you continually make him appear in a weak light as a man is something that I don't agree with, especially when it comes to a black male. I don't like that. Like, let's not do that. You know what I mean? Like, and there's never really like, okay, there's this, but there's this. It's more so there's this, and then that's all I got.
Yeah, this is what it is.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's very upsetting to watch.
And then once it hit the internet, it's like you can't take back anything.
Yeah, it's there.
It's like he can't take back what he did, even though I'm sure he's resentful and regrets it, but he can't.
For sure.
It's gone. It's out of there.
Yeah, and I, you know, I'm honestly, the incident hasn't stayed in my mind as long as the after effect of what's going on with them. All I really keep thinking about when it comes to them is that. And I don't try to join the media in the whole she's toxic for him, she's toxic in general, because that's not my place. That's for him to figure out. But it is kind of, it's looking real fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that is the flip side of that. I think what DJ Envy and Gia did was presented a negative and showed how you need to turn it into a positive, or how we made it into a positive by learning to communicate better because of that, versus them presenting an issue, putting it out there, and then that's that. We don't really know what the resolve was for the Augie situation. That shit threw me off. That's what she kept calling him, Augie. August Alsina. We don't. That's what she was calling him on the interview. She kept calling him Augie. Like, girl.
DJ Envy.
No. I'm going back to that. I'm saying they brought up their negative, but showed how they flipped it into a positive. But Jada, like, when it comes to the stuff that she'll bring up about Will and their relationship, I don't really see where the positive came from. you still are stressed out and unhappy.
It's all bad.
So what you keep presenting is an issue, and not really teaching us what the resolve is. So we're not really getting a positive reference or a good example of how to manage in that type of crisis. All we're seeing is that there's a crisis that is not being handled, and we just watching y'all crumble, watching you ultimately put this man maybe in, and there may be a lot of things going on with Will that have nothing to do with Jada.
I think so.
But you seem like you may be a part of his mental distress. And maybe there's some part of her that resents him for her mental distress all of those years when she felt like trapped and like he was trying to control her. And, you know, so maybe in her mind is, well, you know, this is the result of that. That get back is a motherfucker. Deep. You know what I mean?
Something deeper than we
ever
would know.
You know what I mean? But like, stop. Like, this should look real bad. You know what I'm saying?
She definitely stretched it.
Oh, man.
But as far as, okay, so DJ Envy and Gia, let's go back to that. So,
okay.
Two things with that. On Twitter, like me for instance, like, so when I'm scrolling, I see, I mean, you only gonna see, it's really like clickbait at the end of the day because the way we see stuff is like, more than likely it's gonna be something short. So even the guys I seen commenting, like when I saw the interview, I didn't look
You saw
at
the snippet they were looking at.
No, I saw the comments first. So I'm like, why is people responding?
Me too. That's how I fell down that rabbit hole.
So then I saw the video, but the video was only a short clip. So everybody that's responding is only responding off of that piece where it's like, I don't want to say it's a highlighted interview, but it's probably like one of the more I don't want to say exciting, but one of the more parts that would grab your attention than others. So I can't say that everybody was responding in the way that they did from like an ego standpoint if they would have saw the whole interview, because we didn't see the whole interview. We just kind of scrolling.
Which is why I didn't respond on Twitter to anybody, because you're responding in a way based off what you're giving. That's it. Because
what you said, I didn't even, like, if I would have saw the whole thing, I would have probably wrote something different than what I wrote. Because I didn't know, like, it was.
And there was nothing, like you said, there was nothing wrong with what you said either. Yeah. Like, you can still feel that way, even based off the whole thing. There's money to be made behind this, because there's a book coming out. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's that off the rip. Like, they're going to get their coins. You know what I mean? And they're both smart enough to know that controversy sells. Even though there's probably happiness all in throughout the book, but you gotta give them something. When you go to the book, it's probably gonna elaborate so much more on things that make you be like, oh, this ain't even this ain't even a big deal. But yeah, I gotta sell this. Yeah. We successful, we gotta stay there. You know what I mean? So you guys be strategic. So there's that. But the internet.
Yeah, it is the internet. But the DJ Envy part, like from the male point of view, is like the reason why. Another reason why I was like, man, like, what are you doing? So this was like a few years ago. So he already did some shit, like some weird shit before when he was on the Breakfast Club.
Okay.
And it was these two guys named Deezus and Mero that were guests on the Breakfast Club.
They got their own show on, I can't remember the channel.
On Showtime. Well, it's on Showtime now. I think it was on Vice
Those some interesting brothers, I guess.
Yeah, so I can't say they were right or wrong, but they did what they did. Like, they kind of like pull clips from the internet on their show and they speak on it candidly, whether it be right or wrong. They just kind of make jokes. But the way Envy,
I feel like I remember this. Go ahead.
Yeah. The way Envy responded when they came on the show, like, so basically what they said,
they brought up something about his daughter.
No, about his wife, like something about something about money.
I remember this.
But Envy felt disrespected, so it was like the way he responded to them in that in that interview, it was like he already was in the light to where it's like, I don't want to say sensitive, but it's like, man, he even be tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, what he be on some other shit?
One thing I'll say about Envy is I feel like he's not gonna hide his true feelings.
Yeah, he just
regardless of the fact, like, I don't care if this is about my profession. I don't care if this is about, any political stance, how I feel about people's sexuality, and how I feel when it comes to my motherfucking family.
Yeah.
He's always going to be Envy when it comes to how he feels about anything. And regardless if people want to label him sensitive, which I've seen it, or someone who just, takes charge of his emotion. He always, I admire that he expresses it. Is there always a place and a time? Yes, but he's consistent. That's the thing that I respect. You're not going to get me like this on one interview feeling some type of way about this, and then I transform on a different interview acting totally different because I don't have any, even if I still have emotions tied, if his emotions tied to it in some way, you gonna get Envy the way you gonna get him. So that nigga gonna be consistent regardless. And so I respect that. But I remember slightly what you're talking about. I remember that. I just know it was a big deal and he was pissed.
Yeah, he was super mad. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do in that interview, but it's like, I think when that happened and this happening today or whenever this interview came out on Shade Room, it's kind of like the guy, well, I don't want to say guys, but I guess majority, not all guys, but majority of males, it made him look in a light where it's like bro, like just, well, he a grown ass man.
It made him look sensitive based off the collective of things that have happened.
Yeah, from what I saw on the internet, and me personally, the only objective things I could say is I wish he, like stuff like that. I don't even like when people on the city level. I hate when people put all their business on the internet.
That shit is childish. It's corny. It usually comes from lower level thinking people.
Yeah, like
if I gotta be honest,
don't think.
Yeah.
Like think about what you're posting before you post it. Like don't just.
I am a person who, a lot of the times, I will, for a reference tool, for a teaching tool, I may post things about how I'm feeling personally. But like when it comes to beefs and things like that, I try to tread lightly on that for the most part. I can get out of hand sometimes. But I'm also with the smoke, but that's neither here nor there. But like in situations, like I see this all the time. I can't believe this nigga after every I don't do that shit.
Yeah, that's
I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that.
You want somebody to see that when you want him to see it.
You want him to see it. You want everybody to see it. And the thing that I am a huge not fan of is when you do that and then you're right back together. That's stupid. That's foolish.
That's a waste of time.
Yeah, I see a lot. I know a lot of couples who put their relationships on blast or throw subliminals at each other on the internet like we all don't know who y'all talking about.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
And I just feel like these are, if nothing else, you're showing other people what types of traits they don't want in a mate, and that these are traits that come with you as a mate. Say y'all two get out of this situation. You just turned me the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even, I'm straight.
Keep that.
Yeah. I think I had one internet breakdown and I didn't say a name. It was on my birthday. It was my breakup with my long-term ex. And it started out, I was reading birthday cards, thanking people for the birthday cards I got on my birthday on the internet. And I got to a card that was from my ex. We had just broken up and I'm just like, and I broke down and it was this whole thing. It was overnight. It stayed up for like 2-3 hours. I took the shit down, but I didn't say anything about him. I was subliminally speaking. I was like, it really pains me that certain people will use you and do this and think that they can just buy you flowers and this and just everything swept under the rug. That was how that was. It wasn't this, that. It wasn't nothing like that. But that for me was enough of that for me to be like, I'll never do that shit again, ever. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody with common sense that was close to our situation at the time probably knew I was talking about him. You know what I mean? And so, I knew instantly. I was like, yeah, that shit, let me take that shit down because that's stupid. But it's never been to the point to where I'm doing all that rah-rah shit.
Yeah, it's I think you can post certain things with a little bit of privacy if you're gonna post and like I would post and delete something. I've done that. Well, not now, but I used to do that. Like
a lot of people did.
Yeah, if I feel strongly about something, I'm gonna say it, and I'm like, man,
to kind of vent it off of you.
But I'm gonna feel. When I did that before, I was like, man, I feel stupid as fuck for posting that. I'm about to delete this shit. Like, after this hour already out there, it's like, all right, I'm gonna take that down.
It's like you check yourself.
Yeah.
We humans are an emotional being, and we do things sporadically. We do things erratically, a lot of the time, and we just got to do a better job of being more well thought out when it comes to how we present ourselves across media, in person, in public. And once again, I'm talking to us like Black people. I can't talk to nobody. I can't tell white people how to act. I can't tell Asian people how to walk. I've never walked or lived in your shoes. So I'm talking to us. For us, we gotta watch how we come across a little bit better, a lot better, because it's been a little bit better up to this point. So we need to do a lot better, because we are definitely putting some trauma on our children, and the results of poorly executed actions is a result of what we've gotten when it comes to this younger generation.
Yeah.
And that's another topic for another day. But yeah, I'm glad we were able to chop it up about this.
No, that's cool.
Hope you learned a little bit more.
I did.
Respective places though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
And I totally agree. We should probably elaborate more on another day. Maybe when we can get a forum, just to,
That'd be dope.
Yeah, we get a forum together and just see, because to understand the way the male thinks, the Black male mind thinks, and different Black male minds, the educated, the not so educated, the ones that are advanced and elevated, the ones that are still, struggling and feel like they're behind on the curve. You're probably going to get some different responses regardless.
Yeah, it's a broad range of...
Yeah, the spectrum is very broad, but it's always cool chopping it up with you. Real quick, I am happy to be an official correspondent for Passport Sound Studio.
Yes.
There's a lot more to come from myself and you working together. We got interviews coming up, we got events coming up, and I'm excited to be a part of the team.
Appreciate it.
This is real cool chopping it up.
Thank you.
All right. Always love. You got anything you want to say to the people?
May 29th, the first comedy show right here, Passport Sound Studio.
Open mic night.
Shout out to Don Garrett.
Don G!
Hosting that night.
Yeah.
So it's on the way.
Yeah. So make sure y'all come through, support, fall in. If you got a comedy set, you want to try to work out, come through, fuck with us. It's going to be a good vibe. And much more to come from Passport Sound Studio. Make sure you go online to book the studio for all your upcoming events. We lit. Important. Oh, is that one of the checks for you? Let's go. Alright. Oh, lady. Oh, lady gang. Gang, gang.
Now I gotta go back and watch the whole interview.
What? This?
The DJ Envy.
You crazy.